Woo! How's everybody doing? I look busted, but you gotta understand the theater season has begun. So I'm getting ready, writing a new play and looking at scripts and getting ready for the opening of the season. And then of course the garden under the Beth Midler Foundation, which I am the chief fundraiser for a particular garden in the city of New York under the Beth Midler Foundation. That season also begins in March along with the theater. So, and I'm also registering for the next semester at Columbia. So I have a lot going on. And then I had that fucking tooth. Remember that fucking tooth? I had to take care of it. And then I had to nurse myself. So I had to take a week off so that I can get myself in optimum health. And I'm gonna go to Spain in April, and then from there, shortly after that, I'll be out in Singapore and Shanghai. Under a Dream Trips, the other organization or business that I own, and in which you all know I do. So I apologize for the delay. I know that there's some videos there that people are looking for from Instagram they haven't found. Some of these videos have not been produced yet, and I'm going to be doing that today, March 2nd. It is now 8:30 in the evening, so I'll be taping all night, and I will be accepting calls for people who would like to have your readings. The Valentine is special is over, unfortunately, so it'll be the regular price. And of course, if you have Venmo or Cash App, or that's great. If not, it'll be Western Union or MoneyGram. So thank you in advance, and thank you for the money that you've been giving for my GoFundMe page for the content that I am providing for you, because that money goes to the production of the theater, as many of you already know. My old subscribers, my new subscribers, this is where your monies are going. So again, thank you so much for your continued contribution. The money is going into good use. I hope you are in New York City when I have these plays. I publish my plays online so people can see that the plays are actually being done. The money is actually being spent in these projects. So if you're in the greater New York City area between June, July, and August, the height of the theater season, please come and see some of my community theater projects in which your money is being used to provide for. Because we don't charge for our productions for the community. Okay, so now let's go with part 2 of the Moon in Gemini, as we're dealing with the men for women only. Now, part 1 didn't go into specifics about the man, right? The Gemini man. So we are gonna go into specifics in part 2. Here I have an orange martini with an actual orange in it. Delicious. And I'm going to teach you how to do it. Delicious. Delicious. Okay. We're going to jump right in. Okay? Understand that when we're dealing with the Gemini moon man, or the moon in Gemini in a man's chart, understand the psychology that's behind that kind of combination. Okay? It is distinctly different in a woman's chart. Distinctly different. Okay? The moon in Gemini in a man, you have to understand that a man gets his emotional security, because remember, the moon rules the emotions. So if you want to know what makes a moon in Gemini man tick, you have to understand the psychology of what the moon means in any sign. The moon is the emotions, the feelings coming outward, emotion going out, right? Venus represents the subjective feelings that never go out, that stay in. But the emotion that comes out is ruled completely by the moon. It's reactive in nature. Whereas the sun, and you're going to hear me say this over and over, is proactive. The sun represents the soul itself, who you are, who you're going to be. Actually, not who you are. Let me make a retraction. is who you aspire to be. For example, I'm a Virgo with an Aries moon. But when you look at me and you hear me, you don't hear the Virgo. You hear the intense, aggressive nature of the Aries moon. The way I move my hands and my eyes, I'm expressive. I'm a babyish. I'm full of fire and energy. That's the real me. That's the moon in Aries, the current existence. But I'm not going to stay with the moon in Aries psychology of the baby all of my life. At one point, I'm going to grow up and I'm going to evolve towards the other phases of the moon in Aries, which could be Pisces, Scorpio, Virgo. We do a whole revolution around the wheel when it comes to the moon signs, as with the sun sign. Understand that the moon represents the current reality of the moment, while the sun sign represents what you are heading towards. Let me tell you something. I'm 51 years old, and it is now that I'm actually enjoying cooking, cleaning, washing the dishes, doing the laundry, Virgo stuff, the mundane, domestic, paying attention to details. I hated all that shit. That's why I said to myself, I am not a Virgo. I am not like that. Ew. All mental and no. But as I'm getting older, I'm heading towards that. Because that's the destiny of the sun in Virgo, as it is with any other sign of the zodiac. But the immediate personality is represented by the moon. And the moon in Gemini, for a man and for a woman, because they are distinctly different, symbolizes the psychological behavior of your man who has the moon in Gemini. So, the moon in Gemini, the moon in Gemini man gets his emotional security through expressing his feelings. That's why this man can be very chatty, very talkative. And so can the women, especially when they're young. Ooh! Ooh! So, communicating and asking a lot of questions. Oh my God, can be annoying. But that's what makes the moon in Gemini man happy. It makes him happy to talk and you have to think of him as the Rubik's Cube. The moon in Gemini is analogous to the Rubik's Cube. Remember the Rubik's Cube that came out in the 80s? You know? If you don't know how to put the picture together where all the colors align, you're fucked. But give that Rubik's Cube to a moon in Gemini man, he'll have it to you like this. In 3 minutes, he'll have that shit for you. And laugh at you because you can't do it. Gemini is brilliant. And when the moon is in Gemini, though, that brilliance, you don't see it. Understand that the sun represents the God part of you. And the moon represents the shadow, the lower nature of you. So the moon in Gemini for a man represents his lower nature, the dark side of Gemini in a man, which can be also very sexy and delicious. Not so much with the moon in Gemini woman. It's an entirely different psychology altogether. Ooh, altogether. Well, that's how you created it, Lord Jehovah. It's crazy. It's crazy. Another thing that makes the moon in Gemini man tick, besides his constant questioning and probing and challenging you and irritating the shit out of you with his questionings and his mind games. All of that stuff makes him feel alive. He's expressing the variety of the mental plane in all its different factions. It's not like the moon in Libra. Libra can get away with it because understand that Libra is a very powerful cardinal sign. Despite how I feel about Libra, it is to be respected because it is a very powerful cardinal sign. And you don't see this as when you do when the moon is in Libra. We'll talk about it in a little while. in another video. So understand that the dichotomy that you see expressed in Gemini is more like a tree with lots of branches and sub branches, and it's feminine in its expression, even though it is a masculine sign. The moon is feminine, so you see a beauty of balance of the two sexes in nature and in a man. But you're going to perceive this more in his intellect. You know, another aspect in which you can see this is through his creativity. Okay, another thing about the Gemini man or the moon in Gemini man is that he loves to figure things out. He likes learning new things. And he loves having fun. And he loves having a variety of different types of fun, which can be kinky or can be generic. You know, he flows both ways. The moon in Gemini is symbolic of the person who's gender fluid. It is versatile and changeable and very bisexual in nature. Even if not physically to acts of bisexuality or homosexuality, at least in mental instead of the behavioral construct of the moon in Gemini. In the mind, there's a bisexuality in which both polarities can reach a certain union of thought. Only for a second, though, with the moon in Gemini. It becomes more permanent when we enter the cardinal sign of Libra, right? And which then an action is necessitated. That's what makes Libra cardinal. Whereas with the moon in Gemini, it can all stay up here but not be manifested. So it means nothing. It becomes a passing trend. That's why the moon in Gemini rules fads, changing trends, or the flavor of the month, the flavor of the moment. You know, nothing sticks with the moon in Gemini. That it is the queen and king of fads. Things that come into fashion, then out of fashion, in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. That same psychology can be seen in the behavior of the moon in Gemini man who has different friends, different locations, and he's different with everybody. He's not the same person with everybody. He's different with every different sector of people that he connects with. And sometimes he connects them all together, sometimes he doesn't. One doesn't know about the other's existence. The man in the moon in Gemini man is like a jigsaw puzzle that's not created. It's all messed up. The pieces all over the place. It takes Virgo. When we talk about the moon in Virgo, Virgo is the one that takes the puzzle and take the pieces and with painstakingly patience puts it together. And now we have a beautiful picture of what the moon in Gemini really represents. But if we leave it up to the man with the moon in Gemini, he'll never figure it out. Or he'll figure it out, but he's not going to want to reveal it to you. But it will be Virgo that will be like, oh, you know Virgo. And he will put the pieces together. Oh, this is what he is. And the moon in Gemini man like, you bitch. You figured me out. And Virgo will be like, how could I not? You're my brother. Well, both signs are ruled by Mercury. So when it comes to Virgo, no challenge. Virgo will always win. Always win. Because Virgo manifests intelligence on Earth. Gemini thinks it, but Gemini is content with keeping it here. Virgo, what the fuck? Let's bring it out and bring it into physical manifestation of earthly beauty. Wait until we get into the moon in Virgo. So, understand that the moon in Gemini, in a man's chart, is that of the Peter Pan syndrome. Peter Pan. Yes, Peter Pan. It is the Peter Pan syndrome. Yes. Okay? He's a child. Peter Pan never grows up, remember. Aries is the baby. Taurus is the goober. And Gemini is Peter Pan, the child. Then we get to Cancer, where it's a little bit much older, like 7, 8, 9, 10. And then when we reach Leo, that's the teenager, the adolescent, and the early adult, which culminates in the moon in Virgo as the fully adulterated human being. But when the moon reaches Virgo, by progression, you should be 30 years old. It is the completion of human development from the baby to adulthood, which is beautifully externalized in Virgo. The manifestation of nature, both in the individual and in nature. So understand that this has a psychological behavioral counterpart. Okay. So when we are talking about the moon in Gemini in a man's chart, understand that it's the Peter Pan syndrome. Not so when we're dealing with the Gemini moon in a woman's chart. Totally different. Too sweet. And it's a little vodka. And it's a little scotch of vodka. Oh my god, that is so much better. So much better. Okay? Because if it's too sweet, it'll knock me out. The sugar, Okay. So understand that we're dealing with the Peter Pan syndrome. But what exactly is the Peter Pan syndrome? Well, he's very young at heart, loves to have fun, and is always flying about, mentally and physically, but especially emotionally. He's not the same person emotionally. He can go through a plethora of different emotional feelings in 1 hour, in 1 second, in 1 day, or a lifetime. This is why the moon in Gemini man is hard to figure out. It's hard to figure out. He has a hard time deciding what he really wants and what he really feels, what he really wants, and what gives him sustenance emotionally. If he's ordering for two, or if you or in a restaurant, you know, you'll be lucky if he doesn't if he decides what the fuck he wants before the end of the night. Okay, it doesn't matter even if you're there for lunch, and he'll tell you, listen, he has so much to say. You know, he'll talk your ear off. He'll talk your ear off before he finishes his own food right there on the table, and won't let you finish yours because you have to be so attentive to him that you don't get to fucking enjoy your meal because it's all about, you know, look, reptilian, stop pulling my straw. It's so much. You understand that you don't get to enjoy yourself even going out on a date to eat your meal. If it's about the food, don't invite the moon in Gemini man because he'll talk to you up a storm. You'll get indigestion before you get to complete your fucking food because he talks so fucking much. And it's not that there's anything wrong with it, but it's always inappropriate, or because he's so in his head that he doesn't see the reality of the moment in another person. And this is something that is a real bitch of a problem when we're dealing with a man with a moon in Gemini when he's below age 30. We would hope that enough discipline through progression of the moon signs that he gets to a certain level of maturity where he can then harness his thoughts and make any real sense meaning of them to the sense that it can benefit you and me, like writing a book or doing a seminar or being a professor or a teacher. Than just letting the mind just wander with all kinds of thoughts and that can make you go crazy. Which is why a lot of Moony Gemini men can be seen as cuckoo or a little bit like off. Have you heard that? There's a reason for it. There's so much fucking mental energy and thoughts, and that the mind can implode. Gemini doesn't provide an outlet. Okay. One thing about him, though, that is very admirable is that this man has a lot of ideas. He has tremendous ideas. I mean, but that's just what they are, ideas. They're great though. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm stunned. I gotta take another hit. Give me a hit. I'm being silly. You would be, or if you had to deal with surgery. And I got two more to go. Luckily, I can handle pain. But damn, look, ain't nothing like tooth pain. Ain't nothing like it. You want to put a fucking bullet in your head or throw yourself into fucking iron spikes to deal with the tooth pain. Especially if it's a nerve pain. Oh, Lord have mercy. But I'm so used to these kinds of pains that, it makes something out of you. You can handle stuff like that. I just curse you the hell out. And believe it or not, it makes the pain go better. But understand also that with these great ideas, it'll take the moon in Virgo. That same man, if his moon progresses to Virgo, then he'll make use of his ideas. Other than that, if he has no guidance or someone to teach him and guide him and where that can mentor him, these great ideas will be just that. Great ideas. Nothing to them. No backbone to them. No Virgo. No Taurus. No Capricorn. No Earth to give form to his ideas. He don't seem interested in that. That has to be left to Virgo. Or the moon in Taurus. Or the moon in Capricorn. The ultimate of the earthly cardinal signs. For the ideas to be of any noteworthy significance. But with that being said, he wears his heart on his sleeve. This man will tell you 1,000 times how much he loves you. I mean it. It is the one few things about the moon in Gemini in a man's chart that is actually genuine and true. I can say as an astrologer. Remember, without me, the zodiac doesn't exist. And without the zodiac, I don't exist. So we both have to coexist together. Because cosmologists are not going to define Gemini only by a constellation with fiery gas and atmosphere, nothing like what I'm talking about, right? That's going to fall upon astrologers to do it. So understand that the moon in Gemini, man, is, and he's beautiful. He's not handsome, but beautiful. But understand, and this is the trapping. Ooh, but when you get to him, and when you get to it, question mark. And there are a lot of variables. Is he older, below 30, above age 30? Is he mature? Did he have the great trappings of childhood or the perfect trappings of childhood that can make him more involved as a human being? It depends on the station of life that the moon in Gemini man comes from. That also serves as a variable, right? It's different. By and large, though, let me tell you, if the man tells you he loves you, he means it. He means it. The moon in Gemini, he's very fickle, as is the moon in Gemini in a woman's chart. But when it comes to love, this man is kind of like the real thing. Even though he may not know what love is, because many Gemini men can be kind of fucked up when it comes to love. And that has a lot to do with their own psychological background and upbringing and what molded them. That really, the environment really plays a role with the Gemini. Remember, Gemini rules the environment. It is the third house. So the psychological and emotional conditioning through his schooling, his parents, his friends, his influences, his environments, that's what's going to define the value structure in which he's going to come from. So before you get yourself involved with the moon in Gemini man, try to figure out what his background was like. Because that is going to make all the difference as to whether you have an evolved Gemini or an unevolved Gemini. Okay? Understand that. Okay? By and large, though, a Gemini moon wants to keep things fun and light when it comes to Gemini. He's a good communicator, and expressing how he feels about anything is a must if he's going to feel emotionally secure with you. If you want a man who isn't afraid to talk about his feelings, this is the one jackpot that you got. But remember, that's what his feelings are when he says it. 5 years, 5 months, a few minutes from now, he might feel totally different. And you might actually be able to discern his emotional needs more adeptly than he can. And you know what I'm saying? Oh, we're done with this combination. We're past 20 minutes. Now we're going to begin with the human female, the moon in Gemini.